coaching skills. What you're doing is taking some responsibility for the success of other people as a coach. Now, a coach basically has two big strategies. Number one, to develop a winning game plan. You have the best players in the world. If you don't have a good winning game plan, you're not likely to win. But the second thing is, once you have that game plan, is to be developing the best possible talent. One of my simplest definitions of leadership is this: you know them when you see them, because good leaders get better than average results out of average people. Now, God grant us there were enough superstars to go around, but there just never are. And we attract all the superstars we can, but ultimately the key, the professional coach is the one who can get better than average results out of average people. Let me tell you what coaching is not. I, as a young executive with the General Electric Company, was invited to attend various seminars. And I attended a seminar on leadership and delegation. And the person who was in charge made this statement, said, a good leader, a fair, considerate, conscientious leader would never ask anyone else to do something that they themselves were not able and willing to do. And I thought, well, gee, that sounds good. So I made a little note of that. Don't ask other people to do anything I am not willing and able to do. And that's the way I began to lead and manage and delegate. Well, as time went on, I was invited to another seminar. And with this second seminar, we had a different speaker who had a different point of view. And this speaker said, one of the most crazy notions that's ever gotten around about leadership is that leaders should never ask anybody else to do anything they themselves would not be willing and able to do. He said, the height of hypocrisy. Do you understand the effect of that, folks? The effect of that is the organization will never get any better than what that leader is. So leadership is not necessarily leadership by example if you're striving to be the only example. And what coaches do is try to find talent and bring out the best. You can't make somebody something they're not, but you can bring out the best possible talent that is in that person. Now, we're really moving quickly today, so we're going to talk about three processes, three steps, if you will, to being an effective coach. Leadership through coaching. And here's the three steps. Number one is expectations. Number two is observation. And number three is feedback. Expectations, observations, feedback. I'm going to start with expectations. I'm going to tell you a couple of little stories today to try to drive home this point without a lot of lecture. Imagine, if you would, you're looking at the main street of a small town. Lots of little shops along that main street, one of which is a jewelry store. There's a little jeweler that gets there every morning to get it opened up and display his jewelry. And there's a man who walks by every morning, interested enough in his store to stop and look in, but never comes in. And after curiosity worked on him for a little while, the jeweler decided to step out and introduce himself to this man who walked by every morning. And he said, I have to ask you why you seem interested enough in my merchandise, but you never come in. Would you mind telling me why? And the man was a little bit embarrassed, and he said, well, I'm the manufacturing manager of this plant, the marble plant on the other side of town. He said, I got a ton of responsibilities over there. He said, one of them is I'm the guy that sees that the noon whistle gets blown at exactly 12 o'clock. So I just stop and I look at the big, it's not really your merchandise, it's the big clock. And I'm checking my time to be sure I got my time right, so I'll blow that noon whistle at exactly 12 o'clock. The little jeweler looked at him with astonishment. He said, sir, for a good 3 or 4 years, at least once a week I set that clock by your noon whistle. Now, of course, what that story brings to us is that we have two people who are looking at the correct time or looking at anything by following someone else. And when we talk about creating expectations, how many people do you know that say, well, I'm as good as they are? Like this is a pinnacle to be accomplished. I'm as good as they are. Well, if it's Kevin Allen, that would be a pinnacle that you'd want to come. What is each of your potential? And as leaders, looking at your team, at your coaching, what is their potential and what are you doing to impact that potential?